What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. Really want to talk about Biden's infrastructure plan really quick. I hurt my neck, so if I look weird in this video, I was breakdancing. I breakdance as a hobby. There's a move called a halo. Tweak my neck, can't turn it. Happens like 4 times a year. Not a big deal. But really quick, I want to talk about Biden's infrastructure plan because the top-down kind of economic planning by the White House, regardless of whoever is in there, right, determines how we invest. You really should be looking at these things. If you're only looking at companies on an individual basis and you're not taking a step back and looking at the global economy, looking at our economy, looking at the things or looking at the places that our government plans to spend literally billions, trillions of dollars, then you're gonna miss out on these opportunities, right? If you think about electric vehicles or housing or roadways and you're trying to figure out which companies are going to have this exponential potential, then these are some of the things that you need to look at. So before we jump in, just a few things. If you're new here, my name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. I think that everybody should too. If you agree with that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button while you're doing that. Share that with 2 of your friends. Greatly appreciate it. Trying to get to 10,000 subscribers this year, and you could be the next one. If you want to support my channel long term, there's a Patreon link down there. I have 0 Patreons at the moment. Let's change that, guys. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Also, sorry for the mess behind me because I just moved into a new apartment in Miami. It's dope, but I don't have any furniture, so I'm standing here in front of this glass, shooting this video for y'all because the lighting is amazing and I'm not gonna get better lighting throughout the day. It's literally like 7 in the morning. So let's talk about this infrastructure plan. The plan's total price tag is $2 trillion. If you don't know how much a trillion is basically 1,000 billion, and a billion is 1,000 million. So it's a lot of money. So how are we going to pay for this? According to the article, the proposal would be paid for with a slew of tax increases on corporations. The main corporate tax rate would be raised to 28%, which would be about half as high as what it was before the Republican tax cuts of 2017 that lowered the rate to 21%. So going back to before the previous administration changed the rates, that is going to be recouping or basically providing funding for some of this plan, I imagine. Maybe not all of the plan, we'll see here. Under the next heading, while the plan would spend most of the one-time funding over 8 years, the corporate tax rate would raise the estimated $2 trillion over 15 years. So it looks like over 15 years, that's kind of the period here where they expect to raise this $2 trillion. So it's not gonna be immediate, it'll take some time. And obviously there's gonna be administration changes throughout that 15-year period. So it'll be interesting how this plays out, assuming any of this passes. So this is an infrastructure plan. This is just talking about infrastructure, yada yada. Let's actually just jump into the key tenets of the plan. Guys, this microphone is actually, holding this camera is really heavy. Like my arm is tired. All right, here we go. Transportation, 174 billion in electric vehicle investments. Again, that is so much money. If you're not invested in EVs now, I don't care if you like Tesla. I don't care if you don't like, any of the other EV companies out there. That's an insane amount of money specifically being allocated to invest in electric vehicles. This is basically the Biden administration saying, we're going to be an electric vehicle company. It doesn't matter what the market is necessarily doing or saying anymore. We want to compete with our adversaries around the globe, our peers around the globe, and we need to have electric vehicles, so we're going to invest 174 billion into electric vehicles. So what does that mean for investments? Again, electric vehicles themselves, electric vehicle suppliers, people who are making batteries, people who are making components, drivetrain components. Not every company is going to be a Tesla where they have full vertical integration, and so if you can find these companies that are creating partnerships, have contracts with some of the bigger companies, or either buying or selling technology, these will be some great explosive future investments. So these are some things to keep in mind. 115 billion for bridges and roads. That's a lot. So if you're in some major metropolitan area and there's some massive projects that have been stalled or haven't had funding, now there's 115 billion coming specifically for bridges and roads, and maybe you can invest in some public company that might have a high chance of securing that contract or working on that project, or just invest in companies in general, maybe that are making materials that are used in bridges and roads. These are some of the things, these are the ways that you have to think. This is a lot of money. $115 billion is a crap ton of money. 20 billion to improve road safety, and I don't really know what to do with that. 85 billion for existing public transit. The reason I say there is because existing public transit is like, I don't know what that means. Like, what are we actually investing in there? We'll have to dig into that. 80 billion for railways. High-speed rail would be cool. So if that means high-speed rail, it'd be awesome to get in on a company. I know Tesla, or Elon Musk, I should say, has that company called the Boring Company, which is focused on high-speed rail between a few different cities. So seeing more of those would be great as well, and certainly will transform those local economies. Being able to go to a city that is 2 hours away very, very fast without having to fly or get in a car would highly change the way that commerce happens between those two cities, right? If I can go get lunch in a place that would normally take me 2 hours to get to, and I get there in 30 minutes, now I can have friends, contacts, and business dealings with people and still have that face-to-face time. These are things that people don't think about, but they're very, very important when we think about the way that people live their lives and the way that money and deals happen. $50 billion to improve infrastructure resilience, $25 billion for airports. I don't really know about airports. I don't really like investing in airlines like at all. Airlines or air travel is basically just government subsidized. It always will be, and every time something happens globally, they're not going to make money. The margins are slim. I just don't like the airline business unless something radical happens. Certainly people are making money in airlines, by the way. I just don't like investing in them, like at all. It's just so disgusting to me that I just don't do it. But keep that in mind. It might be a way for you to make money. $17 billion for waterways and ports of entry. We're just gonna fly through these. $20 billion to reconnect urban neighborhoods cut off by highways. Water, internet, electric. $45 billion to remove lead pipes. $6 billion for modernizing water systems. $100 billion for high-speed broadband. $100 billion for the electric grid to clean energy. $16 billion for putting hundreds of thousands of people to work in union jobs, plugging oil and gas wells, and restoring and reclaiming abandoned mines. On this $16 billion, I'm pretty sure that is gonna be a very contentious point. Doubt that gets passed. $10 billion for a civilian climate corps. Have no idea what that means. I'll have to dig into that. Honestly, really I'm looking through here for, things that we can invest in. I'm sure that's important. Not necessarily gonna get political in this video. Really just looking for ways to make money. Homes, schools, and buildings. $213 billion for affordable housing. There we go. Now we're talking about housing. So I do invest in real estate. I have 3 other partners in a company called Longview Acquisitions. We originally founded it out of New York. We're a real estate investment company, specifically a syndication company. So anything related to housing, creating affordable housing, grants, things like that can greatly change our pro formas when we're looking to buy, say, a 100+ unit apartment community, syndicated out. And if there are programs that allow us to get tax credits, grants, whatever it is, that can greatly change, one, the demographics that we even look at investing in, and two, just the exit potential of any potential deal. So there are things like opportunity zones and things like that exist, but the problem with those areas is that often they're just, the opportunity just doesn't make sense still. $100 billion for school construction, $12 billion for community college, so a lot of other things, hospitals, federal buildings, workforce innovation, $400 billion for home or community-based care for the elderly and people with disabilities. Pretty cool. $180 billion for research and development, including investing. $50 billion in the National Science Foundation, and $35 billion to achieve technology breakthroughs that address the climate crisis. So that's $180 billion. To get around, I gotta let my cat out now. Put him in the room, now he wants out. Yeah, so there's $180 billion for research and development, including investing. $50 billion in the National Science Foundation, $35 billion to achieve technology breakthroughs that address climate crisis. I'm sure there will be residual investment here. I don't know if you believe climate change is real. It's not necessarily something that you should believe in. Just look outside. This is important. There's gonna be a ton of economic, or I should say capital invested in dealing with climate change in the next 10 to 20 years for sure. And there are gonna be companies that make a ton of money by actually addressing these very real problems. So I think you really kind of will be shooting yourself in the foot if you're a corporation that could address these things and you choose not to due to the political landscape, because you're really just giving up money, which is dumb. $100 billion for manufacturing business, including $50 billion for semiconductor research and manufacturing, $30 billion for pandemic preparedness, and $52 billion for domestic manufacturers. So this seems kind of like putting some money in a piggy bank. I don't really know what pandemic preparedness necessarily is. You can't create vaccines ahead of time. It'd be nice to have, I guess, like the mask and things ready to go, but we don't necessarily know what the next outbreak will be, if it's even airborne. So having a bunch of masks ready, I guess it is good to just have that in general. I don't know, maybe I'm being dumb. There are some precautions, some steps we could take. We certainly could have been more prepared for this pandemic, I'm sure, if we had masks and things like that, but we never know what will happen. But I do like to see that. I think generally that's a good thing overall, just for people. If we had cut this pandemic down to maybe a quarter of the time, we'd all be back to living our lives and the economy would be doing better. And the last one, 100 billion in workforce development programs targeted at underserved groups, including 5 billion for violence prevention programs. Whew, okay, so let's turn that off. So $2 trillion is getting invested, or actually this is just a plan, right? It's contentious. We know that Mcconnell over in the Senate is going to fight tooth and nail on every single one of these provisions, trying to get in some of the things that we know the Republicans want on their side, or things that don't fit their platform, right? So this plan will develop, it'll change. Nonetheless, some derivative of this will exist, especially when you look at the investment in roadways, all of the infrastructure level stuff, housing, electric vehicles. You should be investing in EVs, semiconductor companies, battery companies, companies maybe that have, you know, if they're working on advanced roadways. If you think about, okay, if we're gonna have an economy or a world where all the vehicles are electric, what type of roadways do we need? Right now we have roadways, we kind of take it for granted that EVs can drive on any road, but maybe roads should be different if everything's gonna be electric. Maybe the roads should charge our cars, right? There's tons of different ways if we actually think about the kind of world that we could live in, and the companies that would actually be investing or working on technology that could bring us to that world, right? So you have to be forward thinking, really think about and find, when you're investing, you have to always be aware of this, of the environment, the greater environment, and certainly regardless of, you know, what your politics are, your beliefs are, you have to be aware of where the government is spending money. Otherwise, you're just gonna miss, you know, the winning horse in the next race. In any case, I am stupidly hungry because I just woke up. I literally have pajama pants on, but I appreciate you stopping by. In any case, that is it for this video. Again, if you're new here, my name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. You definitely should too. Go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't yet. But until next time, peace.